We're used to seeing the usual things on team sponsors. You see airlines, you see car manufacturers, you see just run-of-the-mill everyday industries. But what you haven't seen is porn industries. And I'm going to throw straight to that. PornHub came out and said that they want to sponsor an Italian club. Great country to start with, wanting to get their name across some of the jerseys. So, in typical TYT fashion, we don't want to just get into the logistics of this. We want to put our own spin on it. So, cue the TYT Sports' very own Serie A and Serie B names that can swiftly turn into porn names. So, Jason, give us a couple of your suggestions for the teams that could have PornHub sponsor them.
I had two, actually three. Off the top of my head, there's Carpe D's Nuts, which is Carpe. I think if I'm pronouncing that right. I think that's a decent name. In addition to that, we have Nipoli. I think that's too easy just because Napoli. I don't mean to offend any of the Italianos.
This isn't going to offend anyone. This is funny. If you don't find this funny, you're the same guy that hangs out with the people that don't like Dick Pound.
That doesn't hang out with Dick Pound.
Yeah, exactly.
And lastly, Inter Milan. Just every time.
That is amazing. I'm getting like sick.
Yeah, right.
Because I'm going from Serie A.
Here's the sad thing. I spent about an hour and a half last night looking, not at PornHub, before that joke gets made.
This is after PornHub.
This is after PornHub. At the Serie A table, like fixing names.
Yeah, I did as well this morning. Dan,
lots of research.
This morning, Dan, our executive producer, was like, "You're looking over the stories." I'm like, "No, I'm looking at the Serie A."
We're preparing.
See, all right, so I've got a few straight off, run off the mill. Instead of Juventus, I've got Juventus. Instead of Sampdoria, I've got Dampdoria.
I like Dampdoria.
Udinese.
That's not bad.
Right, and then I moved all of the Serie B because I don't want them to think they're not getting any love. So straight away, I didn't have to change anything. There's a team in Serie B called Latina.
Right, it's a category.
Serie
B is more for categories than for actual teams.
There's a team in Serie B called Crotone, Crabone.
Oh, Crabone.
Yeah, Crabone. And then there's a team called Brescia. Very easy to integrate it. So I would say out of them all, my favorites are Inter Milan and Dampdoria.
Dampdoria, I really like.
It really gets to grips with the flavors of porn. And
yeah, what's amazing about this is the Serie A table made it very easy.
Yeah.
And comparatively, I'm curious what the Bundesliga table has to offer, just because there's a lot longer. I don't know.
There's something in there with Bayern München.
Benoria Budenglocken.
There's something in there with Bayern München. Munchen something. I'm sure you can put it in there.
Munchen, that's
there's
very
a team
easy.
There's a team called Borussia Mönchengladbach. You could be saying like Borussia Mönchengladbach or something. I don't know.
Borussia Gladbach.
All right, whatever. You guys let us know. You take it forward, right? So that isn't the only part we're going to talk about in this clip. So, right, to give you a little bit more context, is that clubs have been asked to submit proposals to the prawn giants, who will then select one to financially support for the 2016-17 season. On a realistic scale, PornHub undoubtedly makes so much money. Porn, the industry as a whole, I think someone came out and stated that it was like a $2 billion industry,
so
like huge.
There used to be a statistic that was true, but digital media has kind of changed it. For a long time, the porn industry made more than the TV and movie industry combined every year.
Yeah. Was that when you would get the porn DVD and hide it in like My Little Giant case so that your mum wouldn't find it?
It's definitely not Calvin and Hobbes, but one of those like Sunday comics that you used to read in the newspapers.
Yeah.
You get those in Scotland, like the Sunday comics, the funny section. There's always like one very inappropriate one that if you were a kid like would go way over your head. But one of them had to do with the idea that like there's just so much free porn. Why would you ever buy it anywhere?
Yeah, exactly.
So like, no, I don't have a fucking VHS box of
There should be
tapes.
movies made. Could we soon see Pornhub Global Grace Sacred Theatres, right? So they're talking about whether or not it could take over the stadium. So like the San Siro or the Stadio Olimpico, like we're trying to talk about whether or not Pornhub
the
can buy out.
Olimpicaco.
You say the Olimpicaco?
Olimpicaco.
Very good. But despite the backlash that may come with this, they've actually experimented in this before. So there was a moral outrage last season, but with the University of Kent football side, but they backed them for it. And they quickly told each other to ditch or be banned from the Inter-College League because they wanted to sponsor a college team, right? But then the best thing about this is they give a quote to back up their reasoning for this. So like Pornhub also put their money into Kildare basketball team in Ireland, and a story on from Joe.ie on this. He said that If these lads have any problems getting up for the match, a simple look at the sponsors logo on their jerseys should sort them out quick, smart.
Emphasis on up.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, he did. He emphasized it up. But I mean, the logo is not going to get me up unless you have some sort of like monitor that's included in the logo. Like,
Is that what we're moving towards?
it could be.
Like green screen jerseys.
Advertisements are now on little televisions on their shirts. It would definitely distract the
I mean,
opponents.
look, this is Pornhub had an ad in New York City in Times Square. I have nothing against Pornhub sponsoring an Italian football club or any sport for that matter. Like on paper, they're a business. Like any other business that needs to sponsor.
If you're still outraged,
great. I don't know why they need to like really push their advertising budget. Like it sells itself.
If you're still outraged that porn is everywhere and is a huge part of, I would say, life today, then you're the same guy that's complaining about the Starbucks cups, the red Starbucks.
Yeah, what's
cups.
the deal with the Starbucks
Just
cups?
idiots saying that it doesn't fully encompass Christian views on Christmas. Like, how much time do you have on your hands to really complain about that? Like, it's just ridiculous. That's the same people that are like, porn is breaking down society. Like, of course, there's a lot of porn out there, but it's a money-making industry. Do you know how amount of jobs would be lost if you remove porn from the industry?
Blow
The amount of
jobs,
kids.
hand jobs, rim jobs. I could go on for days.
Transition over to other things that's going on is a new teaser for the 2016 Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition is almost too hot to handle. That's coming straight from E! Online. And E! for the first time in my life, I might just agree with you. So let's take a look at the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition.
Oh, I did not just cut the video that it's focusing on tits and ass.
That
That's
is
actually how the video is shot.
How many subscribers do you think we'd get if that was our official channel trailer?
Just our, let's just say it's
like, start the countdown, next 2 IT Sports clip, and it's just that.
right.
People would be so mad when
that
they
would
came
be.
in and seen our ugly mugs
Do
talking.
you get the swimsuit issue?
Yeah.
There's a funny.
Do I buy it or do
No,
I get it?
if you have a Sports Illustrated subscription, you know now. I think this is one of the funniest things. Like 2 years ago, wives were getting mad at their husbands for receiving this issue, so they would send out a notice 2 weeks before saying, like, check no if you do not want the swimsuit issue this year, because the letters to the editor were one of the funniest things I've ever read from angry wives about getting, which is ridiculous. Although I understand that now it's not really a swimsuit issue; it's like how little swimsuit can you wear to take a picture. Having said that, it's a magazine.
Yeah, that's the same thing. Well, what if wives are going to complain about that, then they shouldn't be picking up Cosmopolitan, because the amount of stuff that's in that is just sheer filth.
And look, we discussed the idea that, Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue is a mainstream event. I mean, look, they do these trailers. You can go to siswimsuit.com. You can get the magazine. You can buy the magazine. Granted, I don't know how many people buy magazines anymore. And then there's a lot of, I wouldn't say outcry, but there's a fine line between Pornhub sponsoring a Italian football club. Granted, Pornhub, they don't show anything in their advertisements. I don't think they legally can. But then you have these advertisements for SI Swimsuit where they show pretty much as much as you possibly can without. Is the rule still like you can't show nipple and you can't show like.
Well, there's a very fine line. I mean,
vertical smiles.
They try to skate very close to the edge as much as possible. Like there's bathing tops not being worn. Like they're not wearing the swimsuit tops. We call it bathing suits in Scotland. By the way. Okay.
We call them bathing suits.
Oh, you do? All right, well, cool.
Well, we call them bikinis, I guess.
There's no barrier there. That's fine. But they're doing as much as they can without showing that. Now, the one argument I would have is that if you were to put Sports Illustrated on an advertisement, for instance, you're going to go to si.com. You're not going to see all types of porn. Whereas if it's pornhub.com and you get young guys or young girls watching soccer teams with pornhub.com on their shirt, they might be curious and therefore go. I mean, they probably would find it anyway if they were on the internet, but they would just directly go to it. So it's like like it's promoting that the negative use of the internet according to society today. I mean, I personally don't see the problem with it. A lot of times, everything's sexualized today, but you would get an outcry of like parents who are saying that the amount of times they found their kid stumbling across Pornhub.com increased because of the advertisement on football jerseys. So, and I don't think football would want that attached to their name either. That's just my perspective.
Interesting. Could be true. Let's wrap up and
Let's wrap it up.
let's wrap it up. Wrap it up.
All right, well, we want to know what you
Comment
guys
below.
think. Comment section below. Serie A to perhaps have PornHub on some of the jerseys. What do you think about this? Let us know your favourite Italian porn names or any other European team, for instance. Try and think something up about Germany. We really are interested to see where you could go with this. Come back again, TYT Sports, and subscribe.